Hey everyone, I'm Wa.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to DocuSweeties.
We're two longtime friends who discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docuseries.
Yes, but through our own lens, which can be, can be grim, can be bright, can be hopeful, can be slight, can be deep, can be dark, can leave its mark. But at the end of the day, hopefully mildly sweet. Hi, I'm a poet. But we're talking about 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After. This is season 8, episode 13, The Liar, the Witch, and the Postnup. It's a great title.
Mm-hmm. That's great. It's not a fairy
Postnup.
tale, so they went
No.
out of the fairy tale realm, the Grimms and the, Disney.
No,
But
but
yeah,
we know what they're talking about. I mean, postnups and the conversations rear their ugly head on so many different 90 Day Fiancés because we're on Lip right now talking about it with Luke and Madeline.
yeah, yeah.
So it's a
Um,
it's a topic we have to deal with in the Matt Sharp universe. So here we are. Why don't we start with if we go from one prenup combo to another, we would start with Ashley and Manuel.
how dare she? How dare she take that man to a grocery store and then spend $83 on groceries? Like at some point, she has to acknowledge that she's being kind of a bitch. So we start off this episode with them in the Uber leaving, having left the lawyer's office who could not be bothered, and she's like, we have to get some food. So they go to a co-op organic store. Like they go to a place where obviously it's like, farm to table. It's like the freshest and the most expensive, and he's like, well, why don't you get this one? It's cheaper. And she's like, I don't need a whole bag of carrots, that kind of shenanigan. And so they're talking about it, and he's like, how could you not tell me you owed so much money? And she's like, listen, in her mind, she told him. She's like, I told him. He just probably doesn't remember because maybe he didn't understand what I was saying. But I did tell him about my debt. And he's just upset because he's like, how is this possible? And he starts to just crack jokes about her degree and like what she got her degree in.
He's us.
Yeah.
He turned into us. He turned into
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. Yeah. so, so she's just like sitting there kind of taking it. And then finally she's like, mira, hombre. Okay. Yo no soy una banco. Yo soy tu familia. So basically, he's like, now I need $300. Now I do have a question. If she already gave him $1,000 the other day, why does he need an extra $300? For what? I think she should know. And I know I said that it was different before. I was wrong. I was wrong. I think that she should know at this point because like, now it's like she just gave him money. Like no. What's going on? Because I should have given you enough money for 3 months, and you shouldn't be asking me for anything.
Well, obviously, she's giving him money for him to live in America, and she's giving him money for him to also send back home because, I mean, he has to be able to move within these United States as well. So, I mean, I don't know what she thought the $1,000 was for. She thought maybe it was for both, and that would have been 700 for him, 300 for his family, which still seems like a good amount. Now, whether she knows of other expenses like gas, or he bought clothes, or he had to get a procedure done. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know why I say procedure. It's obviously my brain, but mild facelift or something. I just feel like he would have to pay out of pocket for that. So you're right. We haven't really been able to like isolate their conversations about money, but she obviously overspends, and she's not the only person. It's very common in America to have bills and to overspend, and it's really shitty because that I think that, we've talked about this. One of the things that people maybe not know is how much of Americans are living on credit and stuff like that. And she obviously has a bunch of debt and, probably has some like credit card situations too. And you wouldn't know that by the way she spends, but she's also spending how everyone else spends too. I
That
mean,
is
everyone gets coffee, everyone gets spends too much on groceries and they go bad, and getting organic or healthy food is like something that a lot of people do now.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. There are things you can do. Like I, going to Starbucks every day to me is something that you can change because
Sure.
I've changed. I'm like, okay, I'll just get my coffee here. Like, truthfully, my coffee is spending money at Starbucks is almost $10 a day. If you go 5 days, that's $50 a week. That's $200 a month you could easily spend on Starbucks, right? Because the prices are out of control. I went and got a refresher, a grande. That shit was $6. I'm like, no, no, no. A grande is $4. A tall is $3, and a venti is $6. So it's like prices are out of control. But I'm like, so what she could do is get her an espresso machine, spend $40 a month on her pods.
Oh yeah.
You know, like a 10 sleeve is $10, could be $10, could be 12, depending. But like $40 to $50 a month, she could still get a nice cup of coffee with her Nespresso. So there are things that you can do. So you're right. She did not have to go and buy organic food. Like, I get it. And organic is what you would prefer, but it is an absolute privilege. If you don't have a little garden in the back, which she could under that big ass tree, she could get herself a little garden. She could plant her carrots and she could do that. So there are things that she can do as somebody within that. So I want to know, and it's none of my business, but I still want to know.
Nope.
I want to know how she's kind of changed her lifestyle, what she's given up in order to be able to take him in and take care of his family. Because the truth is that she would have had to give some stuff up in order to be able to do that like effectively. And for me, I'm like, okay, like I don't want to shop at Whole Foods, but it's so convenient, but I don't want to shop there. I want to shop elsewhere because I know I can get the same produce for cheaper. So like I'm just like, there are things that you can do. There are things that you can do to make it so that you don't have to just blatantly spend $83 on food that he's like, I don't need this. We don't need that. Like, he's like, we could live off of rice and beans and meat. Don't worry, I'll cook.
Nope.
What if I wonder if he's cooking. Oh my God, if Manuel is not cooking, I'd be pissed.
I don't think he's cooking.
That's crazy. That is crazy. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I have nothing else. I mean, it was kind of a shorter segment. That's all we got about them.
Okay,
I wish they had fucked somewhere in that co-op, but that didn't like go into a deep freezer. That didn't happen. So
Sophie and Rob. Sophie is like a coward, and I have to continue remembering that she's young. But bringing Claire to this to like help her is the stupidest thing. And then the soundbite of her being like, I don't think I should have brought my mom to this. I'm like, you're wild. Why? I don't even know what you're talking about. Though what she's wearing, her body is banging. I mean, she is thick in all the right places, and God bless her.
God and doctors. Yes. Obviously this had to been set up by the producers because she's like, I just needed my mom here to see if she could talk some sense into him. But before even Rob gets there, she's like, Mom, no, just before you know anything, just don't talk. Let him do the talking. And it's like, you know your mom. You know her. Like, she's not going to let the Rob do the talking. Just look at her. You know, like, what are you fucking talking about? So then obviously, yeah. Anyway, that's why I felt like it was fake, because it was just like it was such like a setup of like, don't, you know, it's like when someone is like in a horror movie, like, you know, don't go through that door. That's where the killer is. And like, you know, of course that's where they're going to go. So,
we start the episode with them being on like in some kind of sleepover at Kay's house, and they're talking about she has full face on. So we know this is like, she had enough time to get ready and, you know, use all the toilet paper in the house while getting ready. Mm-hmm. And they are talking about the how Torai is all of a sudden saying that she wants to be there for the citizenship, and they both knock that entire like theory out of the water. And I was like, why would they? It is crazy to even suggest that she wants to come here as a Londoner, as a British person, to be in America for better. What? No. They've got great things over there. She don't need to come here for that. Maybe sunshine, if she wanted a little sunshine. You know what I mean? Like what in the hell would she need? I don't know. I feel like London is a perfectly palatable place to live.
Absolutely. She, you know, Claire's like, we're British. We have universal health care. We have great job opportunities. We're like,
then go get one.
Yeah, what are you doing in Mexico then? And then she's like, if you have to go back, if you go back so far, I'm gonna go with you. And then Claire's like, I mean, Sophie's like, no, mom, you don't have to. She's like, no, I'll just go back. I don't want to. I'm like, oh Jesus, like they won't have you. I mean, like you've been banished. You know that. Like you can't go back there. You know, like people will have your head. Claire, I can't imagine what you did back there. But the fact that you're hiding out in Mexico now and or America can't be good. And basically, then she's like, well, in preparation for Rob, I have bought some new clothes. And she brings in a bunch of Fashion Nova bags. A bunch of Fashion Nova bags and takes them out with the plastic. And Claire's like, oh, Sophie, all your clothes are so slutty. You have such slutty clothes. And it's like, well,
yeah, she does.
You know, a broken clock is right twice in the forest or whatever,
Yeah.
you know, I used to say. Yeah, like it's like, you know, she's not wrong, you know, she's probably wrong other things, but I mean, yeah. I think that as a society we've gotten over Fashion Nova, right?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I
Fashion
think
Nova
that we
was so 2017, 2018.
yeah, Sophie is stuck. Like Sophie is stuck, like stylistic wise, like her like Kardashian wannabe is like all of that's gone now because once the quiet money or quiet lux, like you know, whatever old money, quiet luxury thing rolled in, that was like be gone of cartoon-esque levels of, you know, like either like bodied women and or overly bodied women in a way that feels unnatural, you know?
We're gonna be talking about it in the next like 20 years on some kind of documentary about how Fashion Nova hit the world and where were you when Fashion Nova hit, you know? It's
Yeah,
it was a moment. The same
oh,
way we talk
anyone
about
listening to this,
the
yeah,
2010s makeup trends on YouTube, like it's like we're no longer in the more is more of makeup.
remember the baking, of course, like in like, you know, the contour and everything is so dewy now. Everything is so like use your hands and, you know, like blot it away with your hands and it's barely a lick, you know, of anything, but you
Mhm.
just see like, I mean, it's so funny, but you know, I'm actually into it. I'm actually very into it. I'm excited about it. So here we are, Sophie and Rob. Rob comes. At first, when Rob walks through the door, like Claire sees him first, and like Sophie like turns her head, and then and then Claire's like, "There he is," and so it's like, "Really, right behind me? Oh my god!" And then she like turns to him, and she's like, "Hello," you know. She stands up. Rob says hi to her. Like Claire's like, "I broke my foot, can't say hi." You know what I'm saying? And so she doesn't stand up. Rob like took that as being it was probably going to be, you know, not the most amicable situation. And pretty much the first 3 minutes are Claire just staring at him like daggers. By the way, what is Claire's natural eye color? It's brown.
I don't know. I wasn't looking. I thought it was light. I don't think it's.
She
I
has
think.
like contacts in, but you know, they
Oh.
look almost like, you know, how have you ever seen anyone who got the surgery to have light eyes? Well, yeah, Nikki did. She kind of has, it looks kind of like that a little bit.
Oh, I didn't even notice it. I just her bottom jaw and like the
Lip.
hangover from her like lips really does get me. Like it's like you're sitting there like normal, but it looks like you're like
There's something that happens, and I forgot what they actually call it when you've got too much lip filler, and then it's like your bottom lip makes another lip coming out of your lip. So it's like,
yeah, below here. It's like there's no surface space for all the silicone or whatever it is that they inject. And so then it just creates like this natural look
on
and
the
you're not
upper,
doing anything.
yeah, the upper lip gets like above the lip line, and then you get to get like a fullness up in your mustache area, like where you do
Yeah.
your mustache. And then the bottom one can come up from out where your teeth are on the bottom lip, almost like it's
Yeah.
just,
You just have to
God.
wear liner every time, and the people who choose not to wear liner, they're doing themselves a disservice. um, uh, I really love like not to skip back just a second. I really love when Soph said, "If I wanted to use a guy for their green card, I would have got a guy who has a bathroom." Loved it. Okay, anyway,
Heard that.
so
Felt that, heard that. Truly.
felt it, yeah. So he comes in and he's trying to be Mr. Nice Guy, and I really actually feel sorry for him because Claire is not even doing a good job of it. She's not even doing a good job of being a victim and or like whatever, or like standing up for her daughter. She's just like lobbying allegations left and right. And some of them as a viewer, I'm like, that's not true. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I mean, we haven't seen him like do all of that to her, have we? Like,
Her first opening line is, "Let me tell you, Rob, you shouldn't be mad. You're such fucking trash. I can't believe you. You went to a shop and then she tried on an outfit and then she came out, Rob, and you made her feel bad."
oh,
Like,
Mom, that's not what happened, Mom. He didn't mean to make me feel bad.
intentionally, you bully. You intentionally did it. You bully. You thought, how will I make her feel bad? I will say this. He's like, no, I just literally said that's not what I meant. That's not even a
Yeah,
lingerie. That was just a normal top. I didn't say she looked
yeah,
bad, and I said it was too normal
yeah,
looking.
yeah. It is so weird. It is so weird that she just comes out with this, and we're all like, "Okay, bring it back," because you're not even making any sense. You're completely ruining this argument. And so Soph is there, just like back and forth, defending each of them to each other, and I'm like, "This is so stupid." And so then when Claire goes too far, and Rob is like, "You don't even know what a healthy relationship is." Rob is 1 second from being like, "You've ruined her life." And so it's like, Rob, apologize, you said something wrong. And I was like, no, I don't think Claire deserves any grace, or like, I'm not on her side at all. She's a crazy woman.
Yeah, we were on our side the first scene we had of her in the first season, and then we started to realize that she was always going to be around, and we also started to realize that she wasn't just a lovable kind of like overly filled plastic surgery mom that just happens to always be around. Instead, she's like a traumatic, trauma filled, toxic, abusive addict who like parentifies her daughter, and I don't understand what she does for a living or where she's where and why. But I
Hangers
do know
on.
that,
That's what she is. She's a hangers on.
yeah, I mean, like, the fact I wonder, I wish we could talk to that guy that she was with. Because supposedly, again, she broke up with him because he had bad breath, God bless.
That's
But I just feel
crazy.
like he probably knows a whole host of sins. Like, and
Yeah.
if they it's almost too toxic because of what we know, like what happened. But if there's a tell-all to this, and if Claire comes,
He needs to
that
come
would
too.
make sense to have him come as well. And or I mean, I don't know
Pay
what
him.
Rob is gonna tell. What is Rob gonna say to Claire after this?
Pay
Knowing we
him.
know,
Pay that man any amount of money so he'll come on this show and tell us how crazy Claire is. Just pay him.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
that's what needs to happen. I'd be down for that. Support that 100%. Yeah, so it's just like this garble yell back and forth, and Rob, everybody wants Sophie to be on their side and support them, and we see her being put in again in an impossible situation, which is again why she makes the choices she makes. And so Claire gets pulled aside, and she's trying to make peace between the two of them. And Claire is like, I can't do anything for her. I love her so much. And it's just really hard to see someone you love in love with someone else who's so bad for them. And I'm like, you are the girl who cried wolf right now, because the way you are lamenting and telling this camera, it's almost like you know that your daughter's in a cult. Like, I felt like she should have been a Shekinah mother. Like, it was just like too much for exactly what's going on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Okay. I mean, we'll see what happens. Obviously, they're giving us a lot of drama. It sure picked up, and they didn't even have to find that second phone.
Yeah.
Where do you want to move on to?
Let's just real quick say that Emily and Kobe, the girl never came, thank God.
We were sharped.
Great,
We were sharped.
great.
That's fucking crazy. No, I can't believe
It was such an unnecessary scene, but like, and then I never understood what Emily was talking about. Like, I don't understand her problem with this
I agree.
situation. She
I
got
agree.
the man did what was right. You know what I mean? Like, she got him, and it's not even by a trickery. This man loves her. Like, Kobe actually loves her. This is not some trickery of like, him being this like fast and loose guy and in Cameroon who can't be trusted. And he was with this girl for 7 years and never promised her shit, and like then fucked around and came to China. The girl was back in Cameroon, like hoping and begging and wishing that he could come back. And then he got diverted by like Betty White Lady, and then like gets a Betty White Lady, gets her pregnant, and then like goes back. I'm like, what does it matter?
You also are supposing a bunch. She's like assuming a lot. She's
Yeah.
assuming that this woman has been pining for him the entire time, was faithful to him the entire time. She's assuming this woman was like, we're about to get married, we're gonna get married. Like, she's assuming this woman was obsessed in love with him. I'm not saying she wasn't, but like it's like she almost wants to like have a moment where she brings her husband back and is like, well, he picked me, that's obvious, but so I can live happily and feel good, I'm just gonna
Mhm.
have him bring me to you,
Yeah.
and then for him to apologize,
Mhm.
for you to, as if
Woman
it's
to
real.
woman.
Yes, it's really gross. And like it would only make sense if she knew that this woman was very hurt, that this woman either had reached out to Emily just to make sure the timeline was like that it would only make sense if something like that maybe had happened. But
Yeah.
even then she'd be like, it's super weird the woman is reaching out to me because I am your wife and I already have two kids. I really don't care. But at the same time, we're here in Cameroon, so she wants to come to the wedding, then, that would make more sense of a storyline than whatever she's trying to justify in this moment, which makes her sound honestly kind of vapid and superficial.
So it and also just crazy. Like
Yes.
controlling and crazy in a weird way. Like she didn't know one piece of his life and someone whispered it to her like a few weeks ago and now she must open it up and blow it up and it must be the thing that she's aware of. Like this poor girl, what if she was in love with you and you went to China and got me pregnant? Okay,
Hmm.
oh well. Oh
Hmm.
well. It's been 5 years now.
Hmm.
Or whatever. Like, oh, well, he's already come to the US. He's dealt with your shit through the US. You guys are madly in love. The whole family's now back. Like, the thing is, though, if Kobe wanted to marry that woman with the beautiful ceremony and everything that's going on right now, knocked door and all that shit, he wouldn't have gone to China. Okay, moving on.
Hmm.
Gino and Jasmine, they're going to Big George's, a um appliance store, which is like, wow, they still make appliance stores. You didn't just go to you didn't go to Home Depot. Anyway, so they go to this appliance store, and Jasmine's still pissed with him, and she looks great. She looks like she's got a tan. I love her little marmy outfit. I was like, I need that outfit. I loved it. I thought it was really cute. And she's like, you are really bad at parking, and he's like, I know.
You wouldn't last one day in Panama. I know. She's like really trying
Yeah.
to dick him. She really hates him
Yeah.
so much right now. God
Yeah.
bless. And he
Yeah.
gets in this place and he's like, I'm looking for a washer and dryer and I want one that has an agitator. I love an agitator.
Which is
And
like so weird. You do not need them with agitators now. Like you don't need it. It's an unnecessary thing. If you want to be able to get your comforters done and your big stuff, you need it without the agitator.
yeah, and the truth of the matter is all of the like new ones are like don't have them for a reason. We've like moved
Yeah.
past them, you old
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Also he already has an agitator. It's Jasmine. What?
He's also had the one that broke for 23 years.
Yeah, well, the one, yeah, that like makes all their clothes smell. They don't dry them enough either,
They
so
don't
it's just
have a
a bunch of mold.
dryer. Like it's a whole thing.
I sometimes I've been in situations where people have moldy smelling washer and
Hmm.
dryers,
Oh, the washer and
and
dryers are moldy smelling?
yes,
Oh.
and so all of their clothes smell like it, and I I can smell it, and I
Yeah.
don't think they can, so I don't know why they
Oh.
can't, and so I feel bad sometimes.
Oh, I don't feel bad. I get mad. I don't want to smell bad things, and I especially don't want to smell clothes that you did not dry properly. So what that says to me is that you washed a load of laundry, and then you didn't take it out of the washer for at least 2 to 3 days, and then it got that smell because that's what happens. And instead of rewashing the clothes, which is what you should do, you just took them out and put them in a dryer. And so then that smell permeated it. And then you don't smell it. So then you come to work and then I have to smell it. And I'm mad. Like and unfortunately, like I'm like, you nose blindness is not enough to make up for this. This smells. Like you know how I know? Because I open up my fucking thing and I smell it to see. Like if I don't take it out within the day, I'm like, oh, this might have spoiled. And I go and I smell it. And if I pick up a garment and smell it and it smells like mildew, I put it right back in there. I get another
Hot
thing. I
water.
put it in there, and I just
Mm.
like, yeah. I mean, I just like do it again. Like I don't. There's no reason for that. I especially with men, because I've mainly smelled it on men, and it's unforgivable.
It absolutely is. And I mean, every part of this is so depressing. For them to have this conversation knowing they're sitting in smelly clothes. Let me just tell you. So then now they have a conversation where he's like, look, Jasmine, you know, he's trying to act like everything's okay. She's pissed. And then she also wants low key a more expensive washer and dryer, and he wants a cheap one for under 500 with an agitator, like one from the 1980s. And then he's like, look, Jasmine, I had a meal with Uncle Marcos, and he told me I should let you do the pageant. So I pay for the pageant on the credit card. And then she is happy at first. She's like happy, but it's like short-lived, because then she's like, a man should be a provider. And you are hanging things over my head, and you want me to do things, like, because he is like, the fact that I pay for this pageant, you should be a nicer to me. You should be better. You should be less argumentative. And the fact that she gets a demand right after he pays for this is when she's like, you just should be able to provide, period, point blank. And he's like, well, a real woman is gentle and calm. And then
Mm-hmm.
she goes, what are you doing with me then? And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And I mean, that's a horrible, disgusting conversation. And
Mm-hmm.
what's also the conversation that's not happening? Why the fuck? Who cares about $1,200 for a pageant if he's not paying the money to get her kids here?
Yeah.
How come we're even talking about a pageant? Who cares about this meaningless pageant in the middle of Podunk, Florida? No one cares. Like,
Yeah.
why isn't she like, this $5,000 is going to my kids? Remember the beginning of the season when we went to the fucking lawyer, and the lawyer told you that, like, my kids aren't here because you're so fucking dumb, and then you said, like, that's
Yeah.
more of the conversation than like him allowing her to do some stupid pageant. And
Yeah.
also, talk about Fashion Nova. I wonder if Sophie, because we talked about her, is getting Fashion Nova free yet. I'll tell you that Jasmine on her Instagram is posting pictures of Fashion Nova and tagging it as if she is sponsored. But the word on the
Mm.
Reddit streets is that she's not at all sponsored, and she is just so thirsty and hungry for a sponsorship that she's pretending to do so. A, so it looks like she is, and or B, to get them to like respond and give her one.
Oh,
I
wow.
know.
That's
I
so
knew it.
sad.
I knew
She
it.
she she gets mad at him also because he's like, I talked to Uncle Daddy Marco and he said that I should do it for you. And so she's like, so really it's like you need another man, or you need somebody else's opinion for you to believe me that this should happen. You don't trust me. It's not like man and wife, it's man, wife, and then man's family. And he's like, well, I deserve credit for agreeing. And she's like, no, Uncle Marco deserves the credit because you only believe him. And so he just keeps wanting to say that the reason why he can't get hard is because she's mean to him, which is like, it's just like, if that is the case, then you need to stop going after this specific type of woman, because there is a woman who will give you those things, and she don't look like Jasmine.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't, the upkeep and the shit that you find sexy is not that woman. But
Mm-hmm.
you can have the temperament and the personality you want, and y'all could be cheap together with your frozen dinners and shit.
Oh yeah.
So that is just a really disgusting argument, and it's annoying. Last and the least is Angela and Michael, where they again start to argue over, to me, semantics, and like she feels like she needs to know
Sorry.
every single second of what he does and everything in his life, because it's not his visa, it's their visa. And they're sitting out at what looks like a beautiful paradise. So it's really funny that he's in a group called Men in Paradise and Men or whatever. And they're talking, and she's like, why didn't you give it to me straight? And he's like, well okay, so what I am saying it, because he can't formulate a sentence without getting flustered. That at some point I'm just like, can you just say it in Yoruba? Like, if you're there is a I get really frustrated at people who cannot formulate a sentence. And this is something that I know about me that I have a problem with. Like, when my
Mm-hmm.
brother is talking to me, he cannot just say a sentence. When he's telling me a story, he has to like throw in a metaphor and like a simile. And so he's trying to like think of like, oh, it's like when someone says this, but I'm like, I don't need you to tell me what it's like. Just tell me the story and say it in full sentences. I went to the store. We were hungry. Like, like he's so,
You know how like when you're hungry, like you're like not really hungry, but you're like hungry so you're just like, yes, I
yeah.
do. Okay.
Just get to
I
the
like,
point.
obviously you hate talking to me.
Yeah, I get to the point. So, anyways, that's what Michael's doing to Angela. She's has opportunities to yell at him back and forth. I do like their gold jewelry though. I'm here for his gold jewelry. I'm here for her gold jewelry. There's that part of me. That sloss and swap meet part of me is that's what I love that.
Yeah, basically she has not done any research about the visa process at all, it seems like, and he has done copious. And so he's like, "Look, Angie, I know you don't know a lot about what's happening." And she's
Well,
like,
they tell me.
yeah, because you haven't told me, and so he has now been relegated to go on the internet or whatever. And so basically, she's like, "Let me see your phone. I don't trust you. You've been so sneaky, been so shady the whole week. Let me see your phone." So he gives her phone. And then quite quickly, she finds what I thought first was a Facebook group, but now I know it to be a WhatsApp group. And I don't really, I mean, God, I hate WhatsApp is like one of those things like for French where I like wish I did know how to use it completely. And I know a lot of people fucking love it. And it's like, I can kind of pick it up and kind of like do a couple of things, but like, no, I don't know. Like what happens in the WhatsApp groups. It just feels like it'd be like a Discord group, like a bunch of different phone numbers texting about things. But basically she finds out that he is in a WhatsApp group called like Paradise Men and that he might be an administrator, and it's like guys that are helping themselves and or others go through the process of like getting a visa, but like specifically to America. And he's like, "No, Angie, you don't understand. Paradise like America, like a Donnie Trump's MAGA America, keeping it great. That's the paradise, just like you say, And she's like so pissed. And then she does a bunch more research and finds out that like in this WhatsApp group, people would also just post like, "Hey, look at this old white woman. She's single. Anyone want her?"
Yeah, Usman's in that group. It's a bunch of them. They're all from the west coast of Africa. Like it is she gets so upset about this because she's like, he's giving out my business.
It says her
Um,
name though. That part. I
yeah,
mean, well,
that he
yeah.
said these are her tax records or something. I don't know. Like but I don't
What?
know what it is that she's seeing because she just like saying stuff. But the thing that makes her mad is that he has a savings account. It
And
makes
he's
her
like
mad that because I guess that
the
this
piggy
is what I
bank.
imagine. This is what I imagine. That there are places in the world where you can't just go and open up a bank because the banks are not trustworthy. You can't get a bank account. You can't just get a savings account. It's not trustworthy. I mean, it's here too. The Americans are not trustworthy, but like there are places where you can't do that. So in order to save money, and not have it all underneath your mattress in your home, you join some kind of communal savings thing where you guys all put in. It sounds shady and scam like for sure, but I mean, I don't know what it's like. So you give this person your money, this person comes around and collects or whatever, and then I guess when someone else has an emergency, it's on the books how much you actually have. So it's like a banking system but with loan sharks. You know what I mean? Like, so in my mind it's like he's saying, I put this money aside for a rainy day. And she's like, foreshadowing, so that you could just run off and leave me when you get to the US. And he's like, no, it's for here. Like, I can't necessarily take this money and go somewhere with it. It's for here. And she's like, why do you have a savings account that you didn't tell me about? And I'm like, Angela, you don't have a savings account that he doesn't know about? You don't have monies and shit that you don't have. Like, she expects him to give her a day by day report card, blow by blow, of every fart and sound that he makes. And when he doesn't, she's like, you farted last week on Tuesday and didn't tell me. Who smelt it? Some other bitch? Well, you better be with that bitch then. It's just like, he gets so frustrated and upset that she gets up and leaves after throwing water on him or fucking beer or whatever. And just, god damn it, it's just like too much. And then she gets into the car, gets to the hotel, goes all through his phone, and is so proud of herself for going through his phone. She's like, I'm a fucking inspector, fucking ball. Like, I just like
Angela Gadget. I'm gonna self-destruct. She does. Yeah. It sounded like you said flustered and frustrated in the same word. Like
what did I say? Frustrated?
I don't know.
Oh.
Flustered, and maybe you did say flustered. Flustered. But yeah, I don't know. She seems wild, and I can't believe from this moment he somehow
Seems
gets there.
is
I can't believe we're still seeing them. You know, we need to be done. Are we done?
Yeah, we're done. All right, you
Oh,
guys.
yeah.
So if you want to see the visuals of what you're listening to, please join us on patreon.com/doggysweeties for $10 a month. If you
Yes.
can't do that, Chris will tell you how you can, Chris.
Well, my loves, you can go to our social medias. We are at DocuSweeties on Instagram, at DocuSweeties on TikTok, with DocuSweeties on X with the one at the end. We have a Facebook group, the DocuSweeties Podcast Facebook group, or on YouTube. Give us 5 stars if you haven't. We love you guys. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you later. Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye.